Welcome to The Wise Fool. I'm Matthew Doles, your host. Today my guest is Milan Pekar, ceramicist and professor in Prague, Czech Republic. In our discussion, we touch on finding your market, art criticism and critics, passion, and social media. Pronounce your name correctly for me.
Milan Pekar.
Pekař?
Pekar.
Okay. Milan. Like Milano, Milan.
Same like Milan, exactly how we pronounce Milan. Same.
Fabulous. All right. So, give me a little story about your background. Where are you from? What's your childhood like? Where were you raised?
All this.
Sure.
Okay. I'm from Prague. I was born in Prague, and I don't know what childhood. Spent the childhood in Prague too.
Well, your parents. So, what do your parents do? What was their professions?
Oh no, there's no artist in a family.
No.
So my father, he's retired now, but he did a lot of different jobs, like office jobs and all kind of, was the turbulence in 90s that he was in so many jobs. And my mother basically office job too, but she was with a child, because I'm from Sri child, she was with a child for some time, and she's now to office work too.
Yeah. So where did you get your sort of creative ideas and inspiration from?
I started with ceramic almost like child, or not almost. I really like child. I think I was joking I'm like typical product of Czech education, of art education, because first I go to, I don't know, when I was maybe 8 or 10. There's this ceramic children club.
Really?
Yeah. There's one really nice one, and not far from here in old water tower. It was used to be water tower, in really nice one, and there was this we can join all different club for children. I think this is even product from communist time almost, when they have this kind of clubs for the children.
A club for children. Okay,
we do different things. You can do petting animal, or you can go ceramic. You can go small archaeologist. All this. I don't know if this is in Western Europe it's the same or.
I don't know. I'm American.
Yeah.
I only know what I know.
Yeah.
That's part of the nature of this podcast, is that there's a lot I don't know about the world. All right. So then you went to school for ceramics?
Yeah, and I go to secondary school, which is what you say, high school, I think in English. And this was in Moravia, because there was in a time there was only two the ceramic school, one in South Czech, one in Moravia, and you can study ceramic like you have normal subject on the high school, and plus you have the subject you want to study with it, which was the ceramic. But this high school, they have all basically same like university. They have graphic design. There was even stonemasons training course, everything. And you study this from your 15 till you're 18, 19.
Yeah, that would be high school, equivalent of high school. And then now you're out of university, so you got a university degree and everything.
I go through university in Prague, to Umprum. Same, I'm teaching now.
I was going to say, so you're teaching at Umprum, which is where you also attended.
Yeah. And I studied from 2000 till 2006, and I think teaching from 2011 or 12. I don't know now exactly.
And how much do you love teaching? Is teaching a passion for you, or is teaching I just need a good sustainable income kind of thing?
Oh no, I like the teaching.
You love teaching.
Yeah,
that's good.
No, I will not do it for money. It's not this well paid in Czech to do it for money. I don't think anybody doing it really for money.
Yeah, it's very low pay here versus other places in the world for sure.
It's not this bad. But it's not something you will only do it for the money. You need to like it too. Yeah, because it's interesting. You get a lot of it can be sometimes almost kind of you feel like you are in some kind of challenge, because there's always a new student. They challenge you. They want to do something different, better.
Oh yeah, I love people kept asking me to teach higher level classes, and I actually like the introduction level classes because the students they don't know enough to know what they can't do yet, and so they come up with the most creative things. And because like once they get into the medium, they start saying, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you shouldn't do this," and they sort of fit into these sort of standardized ideas. But before that, when they first get introduced to a medium, they're super creative.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. What I was surprised too, I was thinking maybe after 5 years or something, you will get bored. It will get like same, and it will. But I must say, it's actually longer. Like I get less annoyed with them or something too, because like you get always same, like some lazy student or some student, they like they want to do something different. And if you start to know how to deal with it, and I think it's kind of like better. But I think you need a break too. It can be too much too.
Oh yeah, summer breaks are fabulous. It's one of the best parts of being a teacher. So switching over to your work yourself. So you do your own work. You have your own studio, and you produce. Now we had a discussion before, so we'll sort of do it again about the nature of sort of industrial ceramics versus sort of maybe fine arts ceramics. I'm not sure I'm not a ceramicist, so like help me out.
Yeah, no, I have my own studio in Prague, little out of center because the rent situation.
As every big city has, yes.
Yeah, I think this same everywhere. And what I do work a lot with the porcelain, which have even tradition in like Czech and tradition in this school too. But we try to now change a little bit to get to different material. And I work a lot with the glazes. I do a lot of experiment with the different
glazes. Those like starbursty kind of like crystalline kind of thing.
Like crystal glazes, which involves a lot of chemistry and testing. But I do different stuff. But this is my main occupation. What I do most.
The nature of like when it comes to ceramics in particular, because again, keep in mind, like treat me like I'm an idiot, because to a certain extent when it comes to ceramics I kind of am, or at least the production of, so your side. So there's sort of industrial ceramics or like utilitarian ceramics, things that are used, versus sort of objects, sort of sculptural pieces, one of a kinds that are not used, like not food safe, not dishwasher safe, that kind of stuff. So where do you fall into that, and how does that work? Like, what's the difference, and what does it mean for you? Like, would you be like higher respected if you did sculptural work than if you did industrial utilitarian work, or what's the more respected avenue of this?
I never think about it this way. What's the most respected avenue? Because you can be. But I think it's really hard to be only one, at least in a Czech. You can be an industrial designer for ceramic, but this will be really narrow specialized for only few factories remain here, and this few factories really don't employ designer very often. And of course you can do kind of utility design yourself. You can like produce like pottery or pots or plates yourself too, but like I think even what I see most people, they do both, and I do both too. I will not know, because I'm using for like
bowls is what you said.
Oh no, both, like I mean like sorry, my English.
No, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. I mean like you don't need to do only one. You can do kind of functional design ceramic, and you can do more like sculpture pieces too, or it can cover. It can be. It's very shady area between,
and that's what I'm wondering is like basically like do you have to be one or the other, or do you have to be both?
What I say, if you want to be, this is a little funny. We did speak about if you can do both, no problem. But once you do kind of more design, you are a little bit cut from the like free art. They don't like free art sense. They don't like this. If you once do this, it's kind of. They will look to you. You are like kind of designer, and everything else is after look like design. But very often, like designer here too, they do like they're making objects. They're making what we say kind of like there's a term for it. I don't like it very much. They say art design.
Art design.
But I don't like this term, and I don't think you need to do this. I work with this material. I work mostly with the ceramic, and this I enjoy to do. And if what I'm making vases, somebody thinks them more like object and using them like object. They will never like put a flower or anything. They really think object, and other people are just really using them. And you can say it's just functional ceramic, which is it. But you can use it both way. It's about how you treat it. Even for some installation, I do some installation with them, which is you will think this is more like this is not different because I have some bigger pieces too. It's not really different from the if you do installation of the objects. I don't really see the boundary between. Okay. I can see it can be used both way. I use sort of industrial method in how I'm making. I casting them in a mold exactly the same how they will cast them in a factory.
Okay, that's interesting. So there's a certain amount of industrial element to your work in that you use a mold. So there's a certain shape and form that's consistent. Yeah. So then what becomes the unique properties are the glazing itself.
The glazes and how you actually work with it too. Is even if you exhibit it, it's about how you install it too. I think.
Right. Okay. That's what's sort of interesting about ceramics, because like you ride that fine line of like a beautiful ceramics could be used every day in somebody's home, and a beautiful ceramics could be put on a pedestal in a museum. It could be the exact same ceramic. And I mean, look at all the design museums around the world and all the amazing, design work throughout history that are now iconic things of a period or a style. So, I mean, what's the little delineating thing that changes something from a utilitarian thing to an art piece?
I think this is really how you look at it. It can be really both. Like, for example, if I put my vase to the design store, it's definitely everybody say design. But I had recently an exhibition which was together with another artist, mostly painters and stuff, and it was about theme was inspired by Japan or Asian, and in this I don't know, combination with the fine art with the contemporary painter, it suddenly looked totally different.
Right.
And I don't I just thinking it about in an object. Basically I use the vase like the canvas. And for example I do my other things I'm working on it are objects which are inspired by furniture, and this is really hand built objects. I'm making them from kind of simple pipe, join them, but still it look like stool or table or little chair, and this is really object, but some people still using them to sit on it.
Well, but within that realm, so let's say you design a piece that let's say you design an edition of 5, let's say, that are very, very similar. And 4 of them you put in design store, 1 of them you put into some sort of fine art setting. Are the prices different?
No, same.
Same prices. Same so it doesn't matter whether it's bought as a fine art piece or bought as a utilitarian piece. Same price.
Same price.
Interesting. Okay.
But it will be strange to giving it different.
I don't know. The art world is very strange sometimes.
Yeah, it can be. But it's actually, I think this is important to control your prices. So
when it comes to making your work, do you feel it's important to be consistent? So you have a sort of an authorship or a style or a look, a technique that you need to sort of slowly build and slowly change, or is it important for you to sort of push the bounds and maybe sort of jump ideas and change dramatically?
I think kind of building your career, I will say it's important to be kind of constant and building it slowly. But I don't do it actually myself. Okay. I know it, and I don't do it because I can see when I do something I really like it, I do something different, but I can see it's not catch up the same same fast. People not so interested.
Right. So it's the advice you give students, but it's not the advice you listen to.
No, I don't give this advice to students either, because when you study, we really push them to try a lot of different things. Even they don't feel comfortable in it, we really push them to try the design, try some, if they're not into design, try some kind of more sculptural pieces. If somebody really everything want to cast it in a mold, because when you're working with mold plaster, it's very technical things. We try to push them out of this. And I can even see it's good things, because sometimes after school, they just come to some of the project, maybe 2-3 years back, they come to it and they start to developing this, because I don't think if you are here, if you study master and before you study bachelor, we are here 6 years, some people 7, and just doing one thing, you have all life for it. and you sometimes get bored to doing one things because people want to buy these things, and you will have enough of this in your career.
Well, that's sort of the question is like, I often hear and even I probably tell people to do this too, is like, try and find an authorship, try and find a sort of a visual, what we call like a visual voice or a thing that's a signature sort of style. I mean, and you can grow from that, but like you still have to sort of, you have to be working on a sort of a straight path of a career. So like A to B to C to D, kind of, you can see how their career goes. So jumping around is, trying a brand new thing just because you found it all of a sudden and it's like, oh my God, this is so cool, which happens all the time. We all find new like techniques and we're like, oh my God, that's so great. And you want to do like a whole set of work about it, but you kind of can't. Can you just jump around ideas?
I think you can. It's actually really up to you. If you go like the straight path, it's the safer, and probably like financially it's the better, because you kind of know, you find something which you can sell or you can exhibit well, and it's I'm always surprised how long you can go actually with. Okay, you're developing it too slowly, but I think it's really depend of. I don't think this is kind of advice I will give anybody, because I think it's like actually we can jump and we can find something, and maybe I sometimes do like small project. I know I will not even exhibit it. I kind of know from beginning, but I just want to try it. And what can be interesting, this can help you even with your straight line to develop something next to, because you just try something. It can be style, or it can be technique. It can be really something very technical, like myself and trying some new glaze or joined glaze with something different,
or a new material
can help you.
itself.
Maybe you don't see it like you don't see it now or 2 years. It can be even 10 years. You come back to something and you say, oh, this was actually, I was doing this and this was very interesting. And what is in ceramics very important, I will say it's same in glass. It's very technical. Okay, you can do without much technique too, but it is, and you build in the skill. You're building the skill with this. It's really, you can't really price it with the money. You lost a lot of time on it. You lost like a lot of money, material, and everything, and maybe nothing out of it. I have so many like side projects, and I even didn't tell anybody I'm doing it. But it can help you in the future, and it's keep you kind of sane too, that you don't do same things.
Yeah, repetition is
all around.
Difficult, yes. Well, I mean, along that line, like how many failures do you have to ratio of how many successes?
Oh, I'm really high rate of failure.
Really, a high rate of failure.
Yeah, a lot.
But not in that. But you're.
I don't mean like failure at the object I'm doing, but like a lot of different projects. There's a lot of go wrong, and I something think like, oh, this can be really good, and I was developing some maybe new technique, or like even with this like crystal glaze, I was trying to just doing it in glass or something, and it's like testing in 1 year and nothing happened. Or even you thinking you have like good product, it's look good, everybody like it, but nobody buying it because it's too expensive.
Right? Yeah, sure. I mean, there is that balance of like,
it's happened very often.
You can't be working with platinum and like these amazingly expensive materials, or else you're priced yourself out of the market, basically.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and you know it's good. You know it's like very like you good. It's craftsmanship is good, everything, but you just don't manage to get like anybody excited.
How do you find that price point that's sort of the right price point that's not pricing you out of your current clients, or I mean even if you're starting off, so like any clients, like how do you find that right price point that's not too high to turn people off, but high enough that it doesn't make it so you're poor?
It's like you can always look around, ask to see what, if you're really starting, it's good to, I always say, come to how much is your work in it. But if you count this and you count all the development, you come to the price nobody will pay ever. If you count like all like developing of your technique or something, this is not possible.
Yeah, like if I added up all my years of school and all the failures I did from school to put it in, saying like, oh, I spent 8 years of training for this first piece that I'm selling, so I need to be paid back for all of that. It'll never happen.
But there's like if there is a price in market. Even I think this is even in free art and everything. If you're starting, you are not like, you can't count your name in it like that you are like kind of famous. if you look at there's a prime, I find the pricing since if you look ceramic, glass or something, there's a kind of almost, I will not say standard price, but you can look and there's a kind of price you can get some guideline in, which is in, if you, of course this is exactly if you make some like functional pieces, the price is not so high, because there's kind of, you can compare it between, if you do ceramic vases and it's kind of small vase and you are not like big name, it's kind of similar price for everywhere, I will say.
Everywhere, or is because I've noticed that there's also price differences regionally. Like the price of things in Prague would be different than the price of something very similar in Berlin or Paris or London.
Think so.
You think they're the same price?
No, I think it's exactly the same. It's not a big difference.
Okay.
I had like what you need to look like. Sometimes they put more percentage than you agree with. This is like happened me. Like they thinking they can sell more, and they put much more on it.
Whoa! Slow down. Tell the story. Elaborate on this. So.
No. I don't. It just happened like that. I find out later that they try really. I had some setup what the recommended selling price, and they just sell it much more. They just try to sell.
And did they do it successfully? Did they actually sell it for that higher price?
I don't know, but they was advertised it and I had talked with and they put it back. But I think this is not only it's happened like before, but I think it's happening less now, because now it's even Europe, it's small and you find out these things and it's not.
It seems like the internet in some ways has actually made it easier to sort of track and keep tabs on the people selling your works.
Exactly what the price is. And some shop, they want to have it on like internet to sale, and after you just click at the name of artist, have a look, and you say, wow, how this...
how can you sell my work for so much more than they sell it over here in this other country? Sure.
Yeah, but I don't think there's regionally like big difference. You maybe sell... But I'm still surprised I sell quite well in Prague, like, because I'm like, I think that when people come here, they want to buy something from local artists, still sell, like, compared to another city, I still sell better in a Prague.
Right.
I think this is really run by the tourism. It's even because like a lot of high class clientele come here, not only like low cost tourists coming for cheap holiday Prague.
Right. So you're based in Prague and you sell. Where are you represented? Where can people find your works right now?
And mostly like a few, like what you will say, design store.
But where? I mean, literally.
There's a like D-Life store. There's very small store that do well, and I like them. It's in Nerudova Street. Very small.
Oh no, I mean like Prague. What other cities?
Oh, I was thinking you asked Prague.
No, outside of Prague, where else could people find?
No, I had galleries on like some free base. Sometimes they have sometimes no. It's in London, the Paris I had a good one, and Amsterdam. I've now in the Milan, and actually good one. Do I find a good store in Tokyo too?
In where?
Tokyo, in Japan.
Tokyo. Wow, I mean, these are amazing places to be exhibiting, selling your work. So these are things personally I would be playing up. Like I'm in London and Paris and Amsterdam and Milan.
It sounds good, but it's like you need to sell it. And it's more what is it? It's more. It's like more really like all like. They don't like to sell sometimes, but it's more like design store. But they do very often. They try to be like an arts kind of side too, but they're still keeping it like it's more like every kind of like more for interior decoration, and this is not really free arts. It's not really free arts gallery.
Well, that's an interesting balance. Do you like being referred to in the terms of like as decor, or, how do you feel if somebody said, "Oh, I love your work. I'm an interior decorator. I use it all the time," versus somebody who said, "I love your work. I have it on a mantle. I use it." So like people referring to your work as decorative work. Like do you feel good about that, or
no? I'm okay with this. Definitely the crystal glaze, that decorative work.
It's fine.
I'm fine, and had like different pieces, and there's even with it I try to find it like maybe a little different market for it too, because they're kind of less like decorative.
Recently, you had the opportunity to sort of think about a transition in your career where you might go in one direction, and that could have been either, as you even said, like a major change and dramatic. It could have made you very well respected, maybe a lot of money, but it also could have been a dramatic failure. But the point is that you could have chosen to sort of go in a direction that you believe would be the most beneficial by the perception of the industry, kind of thing, like, make more, you make.
No, I think I know what you mean, but I don't feel like it's what I didn't want to really. I didn't want to like more hustle video production, but I'm still at the on edge too, because now I had to produce all of myself, and I spend a lot of time. I spending a lot of my time basically with kind of basic production, making it. But what I didn't want to, and I was even worse, if somebody will making it, I really need to train him for some long time. You are not like you can train somebody. He can just like say, okay, I don't like it anymore. I will do myself. Well, I not worry about somebody stealing the knowledge or something.
Is that a thing in the ceramics industry, that people study under people and then steal their ideas?
I don't think so. We don't like hide, like even here we don't hide anything here. And I know glass like artists used to be more secretive. In ceramic, basically you can just find you can have a look on the internet. A lot of people running like YouTube how to make it.
Sure.
People produce the book, even to be like proud to produce book. It's not about it. I think there's a lot of even the crystal glaze I make. It's a technique which is known for 100 years, but you really need to kind of master it, and it takes time, effort. And a lot of people just try like 5-10 times. They didn't get the results they like it and move to something else. It's really something you need to spend. Even now, I'm like, I get new killing and I suffer for 1 month. I can't get anything out of it because it's so sensitive, and I need to find out how it's firing and basically feeling bean with the broken pieces.
Wow.
And this is even the reason I don't want to turn it like. There's a few reasons I don't want to turn it big, because like this now I had like few gallery I work with them okay. I don't need to write anybody letter, promote myself. And this working to make me a living. If I will turn to this, I will need to find another person which will do PR to basically sell all the stuff. You produce more. You devalue yourself a little bit too. Probably price need to go down too, because you will producing more. You will need to be maybe made more.
What is the price point for your works on average? Let's say at this point.
It's really. I had like small pieces, which is like. That kind of small you can take it, are not expensive in any means. Okay, a bit more than vase from IKEA, but like actually if you want to,
I hope you're more expensive than IKEA.
Yeah, it's not how I think it will be retail price for the small. It's maybe like €160 or something for like small vase, and you had vase I made, I sign it. And each is little different, which right, I think this is fair price too. If you want to start collect something you like some.
So every one of your pieces is one of a kind. You don't make anything like you could do the glazing.
The shapes same, shapes same, but
shapes are same, but glazes are different.
Yeah.
On a grand scheme, would you rather be respected or rich? You can't have both. So if you're respected, you're not rich, and if you're rich, you're not respected.
What do you mean? What do you mean by respected? Like artist, or
like you'd be in the history books, like you'd be in museum shows, all this kind of stuff, but you wouldn't have a lot of money.
Oh man, I think respected is better.
Okay. Yeah. It's a perfectly fine answer. All right. So when it comes to galleries and the financial and the business side of things, so did you approach design stores and galleries, or did they come to you? How did this happen? I'm thinking for people listening to this, like if they're a ceramicist, a young ceramicist, or even somebody who's emerging and trying to get more market, like how do you get to the ability to sell? Like, did you go and do fairs and festivals to start getting people interested in your works, or how did you do it?
Yeah, I think I was a bit like, always when somebody asks me this, I say I'm the worst person to ask to, because I'm really bad in PR.
As most creative people are. Yes.
And no, but I was a bit lucky. I get help too, and I was getting like most of the actual contact I get from the Design Block Festival in Prague.
But so you did a festival.
Yeah. Okay, you need to show some.
Yeah.
Just sitting in your workshop and thinking some miracle will.
A lot of people think that though.
No, I can imagine maybe 20 years back people did think this, but now you really need to do at least something. I think maybe not if it's not going well, maybe like pushing it a bit more. I think sometimes will not help too. You know, if like maybe if the product not right, okay, you need to go right fair too, and you need to probably choose which way you want to go. But I think I don't know. I'm maybe really not the best person because I know people do a lot of like all around world the festival and some design fair, and I'm not really doing this too because the time too. Because it's really actually hard to combine like teaching and your own career. It's basically like two jobs.
It is, and a lot of people don't understand that. You're in the same
field, which is good. If it's like if you are in two different fields, if it's maybe you have your, I don't know, you want to switch career and you doing like office job and you want to do ceramics, this will be even more difficult to get. Because you're really crossing two different fields. But actually these people are too, they can be very often much more better managers than artists. Like if you study art like from the beginning, and if you didn't and you want to switch career, I can see sometimes these people actually sometimes much more better.
Sure, look at Damien Hirst.
Yeah. And this is but I think of course you need to do some fair and you need to do it. If you do it, just choose maybe one and do it well. Okay, and do like anything, and you don't have a time for. I think this is good too, that people can see. And what Prague is, we are lucky in the design block because it get big and there's a lot of galleries coming from all Europe.
Yeah, but it's a nice word of advice. The idea that instead of trying to do everything and basically sort of inundate the market to try and scattershot and just try anything. To be more thoughtful and sort of choose one, maybe most two a year, let's say, to really focus your attention. So that idea is something that's probably very beneficial to a lot of people, because that's not really what's told. Usually they're like, hey, get it out there, get your work out there, use all social media platforms and do all this.
Okay, social media, even the social media is quite hard too. Like I know people like post every day. I just don't have no time and energy to do it. And it's the same with fair. If you do 5 or 6 of them, you don't have energy, you don't have the money, you will make them like badly. I think you will get tired, and it's not necessary. Even sometimes like good, you thinking this good fair, you come, it's not really, it's all good, have a lot of publicity, but people are not really coming.
Well, the fairs, I mean, a lot of people like who haven't done these kinds of things, they don't understand how much time, effort, and money goes into. And it's not even just the cost of the booth, it's the cost of everything else. It's the how do you make your booth pretty? It's the signage. It's the putting tags on things. It's making a price list. It's all the packing materials just to move all your stuff to the design fair. I mean, I remember doing this stuff with myself and with other people. I used to organize an art fair back in Wilmington, North Carolina, and like the cost of running those things is ridiculous.
And mostly if you do abroad, if you do this I say, lucky in Prague, because you're doing it home and you only need to take one from your studio, two, so you can prepare everything, you live home, and this is really, but once you was like now get an invitation if I want to do it in Shanghai. I looked the price, of course. I was like, I can't do this, no way. If you count in all the ship, everything, it's enormous.
Shipping artwork is extraordinarily expensive. Like people don't understand that. They're like, oh yeah, just ship it. Like it's not that easy. Like you have to build a crate, you have to buy this nice specialized foam that works really well.
I'm really punk in shipping.
Yeah.
I do cheaper way because I shipping my own stuff. I don't need to I don't enjoy it. I shipping but I have good boxes. This is actually give advice to every student to build the good boxes.
Well, not just build them, but learn how to build them yourself. Yeah. Because having to pay somebody else to build a box is very expensive. Yeah. But if you can learn the technique of a good, I come from photography as my background, so I was always taught like build your own frames. Like
Yeah.
if you could build your own frames, you're going to save a ton of money. And it was true. I built my own frames for 20 years and it saved me a ton of money because my work just got bigger and bigger and bigger to the point that if I tried to frame it, it would cost almost more than the work
Yeah, yeah.
itself. Like, it was ridiculous. So yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah, and ceramic box is really, once you start to shipping in somewhere, box really crucial. I can always see an after graduation students thinking they can make some just cheap paper box. They come to broken to this 3 or 4 pieces to the gallery, and there's nothing. You're wasting your piece. You're wasting the shipping and everything. Good box, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good boxes. Like that. I like that advice. All right. So at your point in your career, you're probably what, mid-career we would call you. I don't know. I never understand these terms. Would you like? What would you define yourself as emerging, or are you sort of stable? I don't
I
even know.
think I'm too old for emerging.
Too old for emerging. How old are you?
I'm 39.
Oh, you're young. I'm 46. You're fine. So we'll call you emerging probably still, because like you're not. Like, I don't know. What you're well renowned probably in the Czech region, but like beyond that, how are you renowned? Do people know your name outside here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I don't know. All right. So if you had, let's say you had all the money and all the time in the world, so you didn't have to work, you didn't have to produce for money, what would you make?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, probably, yeah, I will probably do more. I will have more. I will kind of stop the like production which make me money now, when I will maybe experiment it more. Definitely, yeah. I had like some, some I had in like more maybe like sculpture pieces, and I have some glaze I really don't have a time to work with, which may be not very interesting how they look like, but they're interesting too because they're very unique. Like the surface or some like on it, like I know nobody else doing it, and I have few kind of this project. I really now let to suffer with it. I don't have a time for it to, because it's sometimes like hundreds time the firing and mixing, and it's really like tons of hour, and I can only do it. I even if I employ somebody, I can, because it's something you had to do it. I have in my head. Sure. And this is probably something I will, if I really don't need to worry about money, I will do this.
Yeah. Okay. How about like, so do you have collectors? Do you have people that you know? Like, I mean, one thing I always wonder about like selling through galleries or design stores and stuff is that you don't know the buyer and the buyer doesn't know you, so like you can't keep up with them and they can't maybe easily keep up with you. But I guess maybe that's where social media fits in now. Like, so if somebody goes to one of your design store and buys one of your pieces, they can turn around and follow your social media. So that's sort of the modern day mailing list idea, versus the old days where you actually like knew who all your collectors were and all this. So like, is that something like, do you keep up with your collectors, or does it seem like this has been transitioned to some other way?
No, I had some people I dealing them like I know them, and they do collect, they nonsense, and they ask what's new and something they kind of building collection. But I don't want to bypass the gallery. Too often I don't do it for purpose. If somebody like ask me when you can buy it, I can say you can buy it in a shop. If you're really interested, you can visit me too. But I really first time say, if you really, because I'm not in my workshop all the time, and I don't even have an address on the website, because I don't want like people just turning, because I only have some time in and I want this time for me. And this, I think gallery, like they need it making money too. You need them. I still do most sales through the gallery, but both way it's good. Of course, if you sell it yourself, you have more money out of it. And I enjoy some people too when they like it and I know them longer time. It's really like, I must say, anytime I never have like person to come in and I regret I invite him that this person didn't like it. Like most of the people they like it, they're interested how it's made, they really happy to see and my workshop is really workshop, it's not showroom of any kind. And it's enjoyable too, but like you need to I think to balance it. But my workshop is out of center, which means it's not so many people coming.
Right. And so you were talking about the relationship of a sales store and selling yourself to. What kind of deal? What kind of arrangements do you have with most of these places? Is it 40-60, 50-50? Like what's the?
50-50. 50-50. Yeah, it's a usual.
Well, it's not that usual, actually. I've been talking to some other gallerists that have very different setups. So it's not. I thought it was usual until I started doing this podcast. Now all of a sudden it's not. I'm finding out it's not that usual. But okay, so 50-50 is generally what you walk in with. That's fine. When you're getting ready to work with a new space, do you do a lot of research about them? Do you ask friends? Like, do you get references? Like, or do you just go like, "Hey, you like my work? Great, happy to have you sell it for me," like, and just give them some stuff?
No, I do like. Of course, I do look internet and something. Sometimes I have now in Switzerland really newly opening the shop, which is a little risky. I send them all. There's basically almost no reference, but I like to call, like not only email. I like to call with the person to. I think you can tell a bit more on the phone, but it's always a little risky. What I do too, like once they sell, I want them to at least the smaller cheaper buy it. The pieces, not commission like smaller pieces, like because they do sell a bit more. The bigger pieces only few, some like it's not so often, but smaller pieces do. And I really make this because I ran into some trouble before. They didn't pay, or it was really hard to get the pay. Okay, that gallery, like they will not really accept it. And if it's really good gallery, I know I had another benefit to be in this gallery because people will see it and they know it's good gallery. I will not push them to buy it. They will not even. It's kind of that kind of gallery. They know they're good, and I even myself know I'm benefited from because people even see in gallery and say to me, "Oh, I see in this gallery. I would like to buy it." Or I have a gallery. I get like this the new gallery in Sydney, and they say, "Oh, I saw it in this gallery. Can we sell it?" And he buy all, which is
You're in
which
Sydney also.
Yeah, it's a small, like, so I think small design shop, but I think quite good one. But it's not big. It's few pieces. It's not.
Yeah, but so that's an interesting thing though that I've recently found out more about is that a number of galleries will do the buying outright versus taking on commission kind of thing. So in the ceramics world, this is reasonably common. Like lower priced point items might be bought.
I think if they know they sell it, right? Okay. They will buy. And I did actually had to from beginning. And some gallery like was first they said, "Oh, if you don't want your stuff, if you this way." But I find it like it was really hard to keeping with because you really need to have to keep account and have a look what. Okay, bigger pieces I can keep a track of. Okay, I know they have these two big vases and I can break it down some. Basically, I'm by functioning like I had on a wall like list and I'm writing and if sell I cross it.
Wow,
with
okay.
a bigger piece.
Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah, it's old school. Okay, all my accounting is electronic after, but this actually I find this work for me like better than
whatever works for you.
Computer. Yeah.
I'm not here to judge.
Like you can do this if it's small scale. One scale, big scale,
sure.
And with the small vases, there's more like sell, and I really like them to buy. It's even easier for them too because it's just one bill, not bill like one small bill every month, and I think it's work okay.
Yeah, no, I come from a different world. Like I don't produce little smaller, less expensive things. Like I don't.
No, I can imagine if you do painting and stuff, they really need to know if they will. I don't know if this really exists if they will buy the.
It does.
It does. That's
yeah,
true.
Yeah. Which again, I'm surprised about. I hadn't heard about this, but I mean, I've heard more and more about it. I've heard about White Cube and Saatchi and these kinds of places doing this, where they're buying outright things. But
maybe when they know it's good. Good price, good piece, and I can imagine they can even like store it for some time, and sell it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they pay a reasonable price now, store it for 10 years, and then suddenly they can bring it out and be like, "Look at this amazing new thing, and it's worth 5 times what I paid for it."
But this is not really what's happening in ceramic.
Well, it's not what's happening really in the real art world. That's sort of an elite sort of level of stuff. That's not the norm.
And even ceramic, it's like I can see some even well-known name, at least I know in a Czech. And it's even like that, and still price is not really like jumping too much. It's just it's because the material. I don't know why is it we did speak about glass little
I was going to say,
better.
Czech glass is known
Yeah.
pretty well. It's
known
got a
pretty
good
well.
reputation.
And when they do big pieces, it's expensive to produce too. They have much more bigger expense. They need a factory, and they have bigger, like with ceramic. I had 70-meter workshop, and I can produce all I produce in, which is.
Well, you can only produce as big as your kiln, actually. I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah,
really.
yeah. But still, you can do quite big pieces.
Yeah. Okay, so looking back at your career, do you have any sort of horrible failure, something that went horribly wrong that in retrospect you're like, damn, I wish somebody had told me about this, or I wish that I hope that nobody else ever has to go through this because it was such a silly mistake.
I don't know. I did. What I did after university, I didn't do ceramic. It was really, I did struggle for some time, and I tried to all different things. I worked with the wood, and I was even making like boats, and maybe I shouldn't. I just still know
like full size human boats.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but it was all fun, but didn't make much money. I was working for movie industry, but I don't know if I really maybe if I concentrate to start to building my workshop and things. It looked very expensive in a time, and there was no market really in a time. I can see this is better for people maybe starting it now. It's a little better situation, but it's bigger competition too now because there's more people in it than used to be maybe 10, 15 years back. Definitely, because it was harder to do it.
When looking at all the works you've ever seen in your life, what was the work of whatever design or designer or artist or whatever that somehow sort of moved you or somehow made an impact on your creative career? It could be anything in any medium. Like mine is a painter and I'm a photographer. Actually, no, mine is a sculptor and I'm a photographer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have what I like in ceramic, but he's well known. I really like the work of Grayson Perry, the British ceramist. I like he's doing a lot of social projects and things. He's not only do ceramic, and I do like his work, but my work is not any. I will not say he's inspired me for. But I like how he work with the ceramic. What I look for inspiration, I very look to history of ceramic. I very look some old technique or old shape of the vases, or really what I enjoy to look the museum. I get inspired a lot from history of ceramic because ceramic is here for I think at least 15,000 years or more.
Oh yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing, because a lot of younger people these days don't look to history very much. They look a little bit to history, but not a lot to history. And I'm a big fan of looking to history. I don't, art's not made in a vacuum.
Yeah. No, exactly. You building on something. And this is this I can see very often when somebody come to study. I say, I want to make this totally new form. The ceramic. I say, no, everything really was here.
Yeah.
But you just need to do it differently or thinking differently or make it better. It's not that you actually thinking, okay, I will make something nobody make. Even I'm surprised you look some 2,000-3,000 years of ceramic and look almost it was made now, some of the shapes. But if you do combination of shapes, different technique, and you are in different environment, this is exactly what can make it. What can speak to people even now.
Sure.
And sometimes basic shape better than too much of. This is I would say really I like to look to the history of ceramics. I will say this big. It's probably inspired me more than one individual artist.
That's good. As I said, I feel like a lot of people are sort of just not engaging with the history of art, and they feel like they've got this great new idea and they think they're somehow better than knowing and giving homage or a tip to or just sort of a reference to some great art historical thing. And I find it very unfortunate because, as you sort of said, is I use the term like standing on the shoulders of giants, basically. Like, I mean, there's all these greats before us that did these amazing things, and we, as being the next generation, we should be standing on top of them. So we should use their successes and their failures, and try to be better than them, to add something new, something unique, something that's special to us and to our generation, and all this to progress the medium in some way. But a lot of people don't think like that.
Yeah, because but I think we are lucky now too, because like we can see now all happen, like because like we're really good in documenting the history, which wasn't. They start to in maybe 15th century in the Renaissance. They start to look in like old pieces, and even there was like they didn't have a big picture, but now we really have like almost from beginning of mankind. You can look in. We are like in quite different position now too, but we do. I think that people get like maybe the younger generation fed up of the museum, and they thinking they see it all, but it's not reality, because it was so, the museum was so big things in like 19th century and 20th century. It was so big that maybe they feel like, oh, you see it all and it's boring, and but it's up to the curator too, how they do exhibition, and how it's made to encourage the people to look at it. This is like, I really like the VA Museum in London, because they do it really well. It's free. They basically can look to everything, anything, and it's this kind of style I like too. But you don't see this in a Czech too often, for example.
When you sit down in the studio to make a new piece, do you sit there and think, blue has sold really well recently, I should make something in blue? Or do you think, I want to work in this particular glaze, damn the market?
Both way, and I think the second way is better. I sometimes have like galleries, they're picky, and they say, oh, we sell all this blue and yellow, we want this blue and yellow. And it's sometimes a pain to make it, because like it's not really going well. I don't have the right ingredients, and it's really like I always try to fight them to not to do it this way. I like to rather like what I make it, and I never have. I tell them I don't have accumulate here or brown color or something. It's like they do, they do find the market, and it's not. Yeah, I didn't like. I had very often this question: what a fashionable color this year and stuff. It's not. I didn't do, like, for example, I was like under a few years I didn't do white, which is basically white, and with the white crystal they are not so flashy.
Yeah.
And I make one collection. We had exhibition with a few Czech artists in Switzerland. I made one collection just all white to fit it in, because there was kind of everybody have a black and white work, and I said, okay, I will just fit it to this, and I make this. And people see it, and everybody wants the white after it.
I was going to say, I would love that. That sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it's not exactly. And before, if I will bring together, they say, oh no, it's not enough color, they will not sell it. But this is you always fighting with them, because very often the galleries, they are kind of like more a manager, and they just kind of believe only what they see happen. And this is always a little bit. I still have this. They say, okay, we want like red cell, we want all red. And I sometimes had to do, and it's little pain. And I even know it's not really from the business side. I kind of know from experience, it's not really make much sense. It's make me like a little bit more difficult war, but it's really hard to fight this, because they kind of see it's. You can see it's a little different.
Okay, but in the end, what do you do? Like the struggle is between.
Yeah, no, kind of between. Sometimes I manage to like. It's really what the relationship I had with the gallery. That sometimes I manage to talk to them.
Yeah.
Just try this. I know sometimes they're like more stubborn, and I just make it too. But it's not big deal. It's not something.
Oh, I know people, it would be a very big deal too, but it's not to you, and that's fine.
But actually, into this too, the good galleries, sometimes they actually can give you a little push too. I had good gallerist in London, and she sometimes I had like with her like some bigger kind of this like kind of the what I say furniture pieces, and she said, okay, maybe not to do flashy, maybe try to do like just one color or something, which was less, and I was happy with it too. and it was good, and it was good. You can actually, if you have good gallerists, like really only not looking in a business, they like it too. You can get I will say a good advice too from. It's not that you actually always feel you are clever and you have better taste, and you can get pushed from this side too if you have a good gallerist.
That sounds like a great relationship, good business relationship.
Yeah,
but
but
also,
I think this happened. It happened probably quite often.
Yeah.
Too, because when they do all live, they see a lot of things. They go if they are very interested in. Okay, you have two kind of galleries. Sometimes they just very often like businessmen buy the gallery and thinking make a lot of money, and I see this fail very often.
Really?
And
I would imagine the people that were businessmen would probably succeed more often.
I don't know. I see few, and it was always a bit struggle. And when you have the one they really like it, they put more time in it. They go around, and it's like because they don't counting the if you business, you're just thinking, okay, I invest money in it, left somebody to doing it, and I think this can be problematic too.
Yeah, I've had.
Of course, maybe they do more. I don't know.
Well, I've heard countless times, like different podcasts, books, movies, whatever, different places. Like it's always about passion. Like I mean, the people with passion will make it work.
Yeah,
one
I
way or
think so
another.
too. Because running I personally don't want to run art gallery. I know like some of my friends they had like ambition to do like open the shop with own stuff or open shop with own stuff, and some I admire them because I will not do it.
No, so you're not your own public relations.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. It's really hard to make it success to running it, and I think this is actually harder than have your own studio, definitely.
Oh, it is. It's
Have your own
incredibly
shop.
hard to just. I mean, being a creative takes a certain part of your brain that's completely different than selling your work. That's a completely different side of the brain. Like, I mean, I've worked in art galleries and I've done all that kind of stuff, and I've sold artwork, and I can sell your artwork like nobody's business. Like, you want me to sell your work, I will sell your work. But you ask me to sell my own work, and I'm at a loss. Like, I can't do it. I sit there. Do you like it? I like it. It's one of my favorites. Like, do you? And that's it.
Yeah,
like,
I believe in picking up some mistake. We'll show them the.
Yeah, I know. I'd be like, yeah, I don't really love this one because I made an error over here. But like, it's really hard because I can't sell my own work. I can sell other people's works, but it's a really tough balance because like. You're in an industry where you have to be your own your best cheerleader. Like nobody. This is a big issue I have. Like the arts industry seems like maybe this is just being an adult. So maybe I have this wrong, but like it feels like the arts industry. Everybody wants you to fail. Nobody else in the industry cares if you succeed. Except maybe your galleries at the point where they're making money off of you. But I mean, nobody wants you to succeed. Nobody's going to help you to succeed unless it's to their own benefit also. So like you have to have a sense of strong self-confidence that you're doing a good job, that you're making quality work, whatever you need for yourself to keep you going, because nobody else is going to support you in the way that you want as a creative person.
I will say this is true with every business.
Is it?
I think if you open bakery, nobody will really like cheer you to if you want to be success, and you will have a competition.
I have a bakery here in Prague that
Yeah.
I do cheer, and not only do I cheer, but I tell other people about them. I think they're
Yeah,
fabulous.
but because they are
Arctic
good.
Bake
But
Shop.
if you, I will say this is probably the same with the art. Even you have a lot of what you can do too. You can apply a lot of grant and support. There are things you can do too, which you can probably do with the.
Do you go for grants and all this? Do you apply for these things?
Yeah, we did talk about through the. I do apply through the university, but this is really for the university, and for myself not really. First of all, again at the time, probably if I only work like in my studio, I maybe look to something, but in other way I'm quite happy. I can manage. I really like to actually see my stuff there, not only for the point of the making money, but I really like to see gone.
Right.
I really like to like see it go somewhere. This is like I'm not like keeper. Like some people like to have. I have home maybe three my vases, or maybe not even, maybe two actually, and some other stuff I have like only like some really like few pieces home, and I don't even in my studio I really like to see making, and I really happy it go somewhere.
Yeah, like I mean, I've had the discussion with people like they say like, oh, I come to art openings to support the artists and say nice things, and you know I say nice things on social media about an artist and all that. I say that's all really fine and good, but the best thing you can say to an artist is that I want to buy your work, like whatever it is, whatever the price. It doesn't matter if it's cheap or expensive. The fact that somebody is willing to pay for and then have in their home and experience in their lives, that is the best thing that anybody could ever say or do. Like I would rather have 5 people buy some works than 5 critics write great reviews, because the reviews are fleeting, they're whatever, but that the fact that people have said I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and say I love your work so much I want it in my home and I want it as part of my life, that to me is the best thing that anybody can do to a creative person.
I must say too. Of course, when you apply the grant or something, you have time for your development. You can make something, but you can get to, I don't know, I will not feel like too comfortable if you get to the circle. You just kind of developing something. You don't care. You don't sell, and of course you want to see. This is kind of like exactly we say kind of gratification. People like it or something. Of course, after you can apply maybe competition, winning some competition prize. I think this you have two kind of, if like either you want this kind of gratification to either you selling it or you kind of collecting the lot of competition you can apply.
Well, that's the question.
This is maybe different. Like this is maybe different gratification.
It is different because that's more of a competition against the others, like basically putting you on a different pedestal of like I'm better than this other person or group of people kind of thing. But are they really worth doing? Like, I mean, of course there are some of the great competitions in the world that are absolutely worth doing, and if you can win those, they're life changing. But all the others, like I feel like they're in this day and age, maybe it's just the internet and all this, but there are so many competitions that don't really do much.
Yeah, no, if you look, there's quite a lot. You will just, you can you can do too. You can apply many. What I saw with a little problem when I look some even like good competition, they have one style.
Yeah.
They really, because there's a jury which is like similar people, and this style it's now like kind of on. And this is like, this can be sometimes funny if you have a look at maybe last 5 years or something, and you look through and you find, and I think even some people actually really try to fit the style,
which is not a good idea. Like, because then you get famous or recognized for a style that's not your own style because you've tailored it to the competition.
It can be, or you can kind of developing. Yeah, exactly. You're tailoring to. But it can be good too that you're kind of pushing yourself to do something different.
Well, but you're pushing yourself to do something to fit into winning a competition, not...
Yeah, but it's a both way. If you're selling, you push to make something people want to buy to. You have like, I will say both. I really don't like to be very judgmental of this, but I think you always, it's like really, I think even if you are in this ideal situation, like you tell me, you have a lot of money, you don't care, you do what you like it, I think you will want to be somebody like, like if you are only person on a world and you can make whatever, you will not be very happy because you have nobody to show it and you want people like it. And I think you still will be kind of pushing it to, I think people like to sing, they're very strong-minded and doesn't matter whatever. But I think everybody really wants this tap on the shoulder.
Oh, absolutely.
You are good, which means you are always kind of like, I don't think you can say I'm just doing it for. I don't really like when people say I'm doing it for myself. I think it's total rubbish.
I have a debate with an old friend of mine from undergrad that if you're only making artwork for yourself, then you would never show it to anybody.
Yeah.
So by the inherent nature of the fact that you have put them out into the world for people to see, you have automatically said it's no longer for me. it's for the world.
Yeah.
So like any artist that exhibits work publicly and says it's only for me, that's a bunch of bull.
Yeah,
Because it's not. If it was really just for you, you would never show anybody.
And I think even unconsciously, you kind of try to make something you think there will be, people will like it. Either it's a jury from some competition, or it's a people buying it. You have this in your mind.
I know it's such a tough balance because like you want to be as true to yourself and your own vision and your own creativity and all these kinds of like, you know, great arty conversations, but on the other hand, you want people to like it. Like, I mean, you know, it's you know, after years of like, I could imagine like if you're some artist that's sitting around and nobody's ever liking your stuff, like it's got to start to like really get depressing. Like, and it's always interesting because like I've had times where like I'll be making work and nobody likes it, and I'm like, am I missing something? I often wonder, like, am I ahead of the curve? Like, have I thought too far ahead, or am I really far behind the curve? Have I already missed the time for this thing? And you never know. Like, you just have to sit down and just sort of be self-confident and somehow find a way through it. But it's hard. Like, we all hit that like point where, like, for you, I would imagine, have you hit points where like suddenly you're not selling as well in a particular place and you're like, what changed? What happened? Was it me? Was it the buyers? Did they change colors? Like, did the color of the year suddenly change and you didn't know it? Like, I mean, that kind of stuff, it
I think it's good to not too much think of, because it's in your head anyway. I feel this is in your head anyway, and there's no much reason to think about it. This is maybe one of the reasons too. I don't want to get like a running workshop with the people, because after you really need to think about this, you really need to sell a lot.
Yeah,
and you really need to know if it's now stop selling, I will still manage.
Right.
It's not that
you have 10 people working for you and you suddenly stop selling.
Yeah, you need to tell them, okay,
you're fired.
You're fired.
Which sucks. I mean, that sucks.
This can be, and you don't want this to happen, which means you will spend a lot of energy to. But this another, like, some people like this, and this is a goal. They really want to go big. And actually, most of the time, it's not really. Once I see the people go really big, they do work. It's do work. Yeah. Because you get kind of, I think you had bigger, because you had to building it. You have bigger clientele and everything, and you have kind of much more safer cushion than if you're only running yourself and you have few. Which means maybe not too
kind of
not too much.
You build it, they'll come kind of philosophy. Like if you're doing well enough that you can upgrade your facilities and your employees and whatever, then theoretically you're doing well enough that you can maintain that. Yeah. But I mean, what happens? Like, have you run into a point where like you're making stuff and you're making like a series of works or whatever that you're currently working on, and then suddenly like it's not selling? Have you run into that?
I basically do. I had like one the line selling it, or another sell just sometimes something, and then it's just kind of constant. Maybe some places I had like some places like stop selling it, or they just don't want. Very often this like they want to show new things.
Sure.
Or they try to say something new, didn't sell much. They move on, and you get another place, which means kind of. But I don't really run like, it's maybe I'm not really on the business side. I don't run big production.
But you're always do you make only one style at a time, or are you working in multiple styles?
Multiple.
You're always working in multiples. Okay.
Multiple things. It's really, it's not just one thing. So one thing sell more than other, but it's not really just the one.
It's smart. I mean, it's not all your eggs in one basket kind of an idea.
I think this is good. Exactly, good to have a side project. Maybe you can, when this stops selling it, you have more time to develop it, and you already have something started, and you can look. It's even too when you have like, and I speak some other people which they have this. They had like one thing sell a lot. And they know they have other things they don't sell. It's not sometimes they're bad, but you don't have a time to promote it. It's not like that you can promote it multiple pieces too.
Sure. Yeah.
Most of galleries, they want you to just like maybe like few pieces from your work. They can't have a space for have like
Okay.
lot of pieces. Most of the these galleries they have rent. They had to pay rent, and they are not big.
Yeah.
Also, this free art gallery, because they sell. I think this is total. I don't see in this business like this really free art gallery. They're huge, like white cubes, like the like free art, like
free art gallery.
Art,
okay,
gallery.
Yeah.
They're running on much more bigger scale and
that's
places, but with the craft or what as a design, most of these guys you can see they are not big.
Well, that's the question of why. So one of the impetuses for me to start this podcast was like these big what you would call free art galleries, fine art gallery. That would be the word. That's the American term we use for it. Free art is very European.
No, this is actually like free art. Even I kind of translated from Czech.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where that came from. So the fine art guys, like how do they make a living? Like, I mean, sure, we all know about the big ones, the Saatchis, the white cubes, the all the New York galleries and stuff. But like, my thing is like, how do I want to? What I'm hoping by the creation of this podcast is to make it so that all the people in the middle, like there are a lot of tutorials and classes and whatever for beginners, and there's a lot of press and conversation about the Saatchi sales and the Christie's and the Sotheby's and these big prestigious Venice Biennales. It's the working class people in the middle. Like, how can they get better? You go to that next echelon of their career. How can you get another better gallery or raise your price or find a new style or whatever, that next thing. So like, that's what I'm sort of hoping to, I don't know, inspire or assist people in finding for themselves the ability to make that next leap of a career path. That's my thing. So, all right. So let's try and sort of wind this down. So as I've told you before, and the podcast, that I have what I call a quantitative and a qualitative end goal for this, or not end goal, but like goals. One of them is that I desire to have a work of mine. So since I'm the one running this, I'm going to use myself. Work of mine in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. And so every guest, I'm going to ask them, what's their recommendation? To give me some thing that you believe I should do to go on that path. And then I will go do it. So whatever you recommend, I will go do. And then I will also keep people involved. I will keep you all updated with results of all of these things that I'm going to do from all these different perspectives. So what's your recommendation on how to get there?
This is really hard one. I don't see myself being this stage, and I don't have this kind of, maybe this is my mistake, to this kind of big long goal.
Why not?
Which I admire in my habit. I want to have like small steps. I don't know. I was joking last time. Just take one and stick it in when nobody looking. Do that.
Yeah, that's sort of
It
cheating.
was done before. Yeah. It is cheating.
Sort of cheating. No, I mean, I want to. Basically, the idea is I'm trying to learn. And through all of you also, through all these guests and everybody that I get to talk to, I'm hoping to learn how the art world functions well enough that I would be able to follow the system and follow the breadcrumbs to the end goals. I mean, so that's the one quantitative, because that one will have a literal resolution. At some point, hopefully, I will actually have a piece on installation in the Museum of Modern Art. The other one is what kind of things sort of for anybody who's listening, so not just the two of us, but anybody who's listening, is like, what's a recommendation to make it so that you can have a sustainable livelihood, so that you can make enough, not be rich or anything like that, but just be able to make it in your artistic and creative career. What's any sort of personal recommendations?
Okay, with the first one, I think you need to get a friend with curator.
Okay, curator friend, yeah.
Yeah, curator friend, definitely. I think this is very important if you want to get this kind of gallery. Or
okay,
but I'm not really even the league to like thinking something like this. Not for sure, not with the sustainable living. Yeah, I don't know. And I think in like my field, like which I will say is a craft, it's good to like slowly build your workshop because this is your essential. But I will not get crazy with the like sometimes want everything. But slowly build your workshop and try to find out if you can make money. Don't go crazy because I know some people just want a full equipped workshop with everything and thinking this is the.
Oh, we love toys.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. You get this like
Boy toys.
Yeah. Gear acquisition syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
I think
I'm into photography. They love their gear.
Yeah,
like, oh my god, it's absurd the amount of gear the photographers own. I'm technically still a photographer, even though I don't take pictures very often. I don't even own a camera anymore. Like, I mean, it's silly. Like, technology keeps changing so dramatically, so quickly. Like, it's easy. I don't shoot it often enough to invest in all that equipment. I'll just wait and rent it when I need it. Like if I'm only gonna be shooting even like once or twice a month, I can just rent daily, and it's gonna be substantially cheaper than like buying and sustaining all the digital equipment as it continually evolves and changes and gets outdated, and you have to buy new, and it's ridiculous.
This is definitely different in a craft or any, because you have like sometimes I even joke like technology of ceramic didn't change for 20,000 years.
You're using the same tools that your great-great-grandfather did.
Yeah. You can okay. We have now electric kiln, and I can, because I do like a lot of technical work. I basically computer connect to the kiln, but you can do without it too. Or you can a lot of people like just made like kind of Japanese style kiln on a garden. And yeah, I think you need to some workshop. I'm not like, I know a lot of people do in big cities. I'm not like big fan of sharing workshop, because I always think there's a kind of like you will fail to work with too many people when you want to. It's fine when you're experimenting, but when you want to get serious, I think you need your own workshop, or maybe with a partner or something to.
Oh sure, yeah. I don't like people touching my stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I love it.
No, I'm not. I know this is very popular now, the sharing, but I think it's only good for start. And after, you really need to you need to find out like if you want to be in city or countryside, right. maybe better. And to try to get your style and something you can sell. It's not. I don't know. I don't have any hard recommendation. It's hard business. It's really, you always be very easy destroyed by like some bad economic situation or something. And I think what's very important, get out of your country. I mean with I mean like you can stay in your country, but with the find out gallery or sale, I think it's very important to sell out of your country too. I'm not very good in English with this.
No.
You need to find the market, like bigger markets, and okay, maybe if you are in America, you don't need it.
Well, basically, what you're saying is find your market. Don't assume the market is wherever you are.
Yeah. It's a good tool, because always now it's worked very well. The locally people want like people like
not everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Here in the Czech Republic, I have found that a lot of collectors and buyers and stuff, they say, oh, we like to buy local, we like to support local and all this, but that's not true everywhere. I know lots of people that are like, no, I don't care where it comes from, as long as it's good.
Yeah, no. I mean, like it's work. It's part of the market. Some people like it's nice to do when you have somebody like it's come to your workshop. It's good too. But I think you really need, at least in Europe, look within Europe, because it can, if the Czech economy go bad, you have at least another market. But I will say in Europe now, one economy go bad, all go bad.
The European market is all sort of tied together. Yeah. But the idea of focusing more on finding the market for your work instead of making work and expecting the local market to sustain you, I think that's a good sort of idea that maybe a lot of us haven't thought about. Like I didn't really think much about it until I moved here to Prague about a year and a half ago, and for the past year and a half, like I've been showing my work to galleries and trying to get exhibitions and stuff like this, and just very little interest in my work. And what I finally realized after like a year was that why do I think that just because I live in Prague, that Prague is my market? And it's really not. and I need to realize, and I needed to realize basically the words of advice that you're giving, I just recently figured out for myself, which is my work is not necessarily fitting where I live, so I just have to find a different market for my work. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy or it's close or anything like that, but there's some other market that probably is better than the one I'm living in now. So it's a great little idea that we need to.
Of course, it's you can work now with social media, email, everything. You can communicate, but of course you still get a better relationship with people you can meet.
Sure.
Even some gallerists I had like in the good one in London. No, she's from Prague. I know her. It's much more easier to work with than if you work with a stranger.
I guess the last little bits would be: do you have any sort of things that you want to share or talk about for yourself that I haven't touched on? Some knowledge that you're like, I love sharing this knowledge.
I don't know. I think I feel like I talk more than I know.
We all do.
Yeah. I don't really know. I think it's really all about. It's not about like if you want to get rich, do something else. You really need to. I think you need to like it. But once it's really good if you can. But this is with I don't know. I think it's a big lot of cliche. It's like once you make you living and you're making it. It's really joy. It's not that you suffer morning, you suffer go to work, and stay late at night and you are annoyed with. But in another way, it's really like it can be really hard to have some family life or social life too sometimes, because you spend so much. It's all fine when you do it yourself, when you are alone or something. It's because you spend so much time in your workshop and with your work, and when you combine a career with something else, which sometimes you very often had to, you just find out you may be spending too much time, which this can be big danger too. Than like 9 to 6 job.
Sure. Well, actually,
because weekends it's your working day too.
Right. I totally understand that. My wife and I have going back and forth about free time and vacation time and all this kind of stuff. So like, yeah. So are you married, single,
no,
children? No children. Okay.
And I think this big.
I was gonna say
big part of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does this concern you?
Yeah. No. And actually, I now start to like think really I should take a holiday and things like this, because even if I take a holiday, it was kind of working holiday, and
I know I did
and
the same
I
thing.
started because of getting 40, and I think I should maybe enjoy life a little bit too. It's but I think this is like a lot of people have this is like really danger, because you like it and you will spend all the time with it, but you need to decide if this is worth it or no. This is maybe we didn't talk about it, because not even about money and anything. It's just like it's taking a lot of time, and I don't think you can do it to take little time or something. Just you can do it like hobby, but it's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, my wife calls my art a hobby, and it's a Czech translation thing. But basically, her perspective on it is, if I'm not making a living from it, whatever it is, it doesn't even matter what it is. If I'm not making a living from it, it's defined as a hobby. I personally like being a educator and being a academic and an artist. I find offense at my work being called a hobby.
A lot of people do, and I know. But I say you can do it like, if you like it, you can really do it like a hobby. Maybe have sometimes some exhibition or sell something, and you have different job. But it's not really. I think this is not what we talk about. It is really, if you want to do it professional, is different story. This is, I think, it's even different story. What you say, like you have tons of money and you can do whatever you do. It's you are in different level too, and this can be actually a hobby too.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I mean, think of all the artists that like they suddenly came into a lot of money and then they changed style, they changed materials, they changed everything because they didn't have to do something. Then they could just do whatever they wanted, so they like did some other material, and it happens. A lot of people.
And this can be even bad too, Yeah. I think it's not anymore like, I don't like this too, that like people have this kind of old fashioned, like from Van Gogh time, that artists should be hungry. I had actually one gallerist, she kind of pushed me to some like, didn't want to pay, and she had this argument. I just tell her like,
Wait,
go away.
This gallery told you should be a starving artist?
It was like this like very old gallery. So it's like I was almost laughing in the phone. I was saying, this is not what I'm looking for.
There's no need to be a starving artist these days. I mean, but it feels like it's just changing a lot. Like we have to be more active. Like there was years ago, I had to write a grant, and they said, "Oh, write a 3-page thing about your artwork." And I'm like, if I wanted to write about my work, I would have been a writer. Like, I'm an artist. Like, so just judge me on the criteria of the quality of my work, not the way I write about my work. But these days, like, you kind of have to be able to write eloquently about your work as well. Like, you can't just make a beautiful thing and put it in the world. You have to give it some extra gravitas, give it some more depth. I mean, even your stuff, I'm sure you put it out, and then there is a story that's like, oh, well, this glaze is this historically special glaze because of yada yada yada, and you have to give it, whatever the work is, you have to give it that extra layer that is not just, I make a beautiful thing, love the thing. Like, you have to, these days, I feel like you have to put more depth or something, or I'm not sure what the right word for it is.
Sure. More and in a fine art mostly. Sometimes without the long text, you don't even know what it's about.
Oh well, that's a different issue completely.
Yeah, it's really like you. But I think what I find amazing, they really want you to write about your work very professionally. But actually, the critic or the journalist, like from magazine, newspaper, they really bad in writing. I would say this is really go. Like, if I look some old magazine, they write about, if I say like rapport, like maybe even Czech in like 60s, 70s, there was good articles about it. Go to point, very good article. Now there's very like few of people they can write well about if I'm in craft, but they want you to write everything, and they just like basically all like magazine or lot of like, even there's a lot of website about design. It's copy and paste very often.
Yeah, no,
and I really like I don't want to. I like somebody to write something about my work that I can maybe get even out of it too, because it's much more. It's
clickbait. They're just looking for fast, easy, simple. They're not looking for eloquent and
I think
elaborate.
this is what I'm missing, and I think this is even this push that you should write. It's a little bit of laziness on this side too. Yeah, there's really like, even with the curator or something, there's like not so. There's some good, but not so many. And I sometimes I'm really annoyed when just like write me, oh, can you give me the text? And after I can see they only like make even some mistake in it, copy half of it, and that's
oh yeah,
I mean,
it's funny. Like, when I was preparing to do this podcast, I started thinking of questions and stuff. And one of my questions that I was thinking about asking was, are there any art critics out there that you respect and you read and you listen to? And I was suddenly like, there just aren't that many well-respected international art critics at all, much less like your best of. Like, can you even name like 3 well-renowned international art critics that are working right now?
In a fine art, I'm not really too, and in a like craft ceramics, there's most of them that actually like dead.
Well, that's my
or
point.
well past age.
I mean, the whole sort of
in a Czech there is but he's now more work with architecture. It's Adam Stech. He's kind of like my generation. But it's almost all like other universities right to now. They had a master degree for theory of art, and we're just hoping some people get kind of catch on this craft.
It feels like there's sort of like this. There was a time where art critics sort of ruled the roost. They controlled and made or broke artists and creative people's entire professions. It seems like that's sort of, that time might have passed. Like, it seems like they're not the ones in control anymore.
Yeah, I think this is a good point too. Which can be good, it can be bad too. Good is it for, because like you need to be friendly with them. And it's probably make you. I don't know, because I didn't experience this. Yeah. But what I kind of hear, like from maybe older generation, they can really make you or fail you easily. And this now it's like I think it's like with everything. It's really how we say in English, decentralized.
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 Yes,
And it's up to like social media a lot, and it's up to you, and there's not really, which is good too. But I think what is bad too, for it's kind of developing maybe a tutorial of. I think this is what they're lacking to.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Like maybe theory of art or
Theory?
theory
of art. Okay.
I think maybe maybe it's little better in a fine art when they really you have the gallery and you still have to have a curators. But what I really like missing in like this like apply art or craft, and I think there's a missing kind of like center point or something which can you always have something to. Maybe we don't. Maybe there is. We don't see it now. I think even fine artists they're a little lost now. I think they feel like they try everything, anything.
Yeah.
But they still. I think there is a search for, and then like in a fine art, I think they will be in a apply art or craft. They will be good to maybe have something like this too. They was like there's always I think there's a kind of 2 point. But I think they are very fashionable to even like kind of sustainable design, which is sometimes I can see them it's more fashionable things than really sustainable things.
Right. Yeah.
That you really like
eco-friendly.
eco-friendly.
And that,
But when you really look into it, it's not really. It's just like look like, or it's kind of experimental, or there's a lot of like kind of maybe like remake some traditional technique or make it like using some traditional technique to some like new design, which is very often I can see it's like can be, and I think this is even kind of going, it was a little like maybe a few years back this was very very fashionable, which is like good things, but sometimes you can see it's really somebody like pushing it to be like to be in a trend, but it's kind of trend. But I think there's I just kind of feeling I have this there's missing something, some kind of like bigger I don't know how to
movement or
maybe
meaning
movement or something bigger meaning maybe in but maybe there is, and you really hard to see it, but it's exactly what I think there's no I don't see any.
I think, well, that kind of stuff, hindsight. I mean, you know, they'll be able to look back 10, 15, 20 years from now and look back here and say, oh, there was this whole movement of, you know, eco-friendly, whatever, you know, that sort of defined this generation. But, you know, in the end, that kind of stuff comes up to histories written by the victors. So it's like the most successful artists and ceramicists of this time.
But always there's some like tradition of the art or the craft. He maybe writes some manifesto or something try to even maybe thinking, oh, this is what we should do, and there's some kind of strong opinion about it. But there's nothing here now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you don't hear about people writing manifestos.
Yeah. I don't like personally. I'm not big fan of it, but I will like to see it, even you say, oh, it's not true, or
I love the concept of an artistic manifesto. I think it's fabulous, but I don't want to read one or write one. But I'd love to hear the idea of it.
I don't mind to read it, and I think this, of course, this is like with social media too. You're just looking pictures, like you're looking and try to match it something similar, and I can really see it's much more different than just see if you look the picture, and if you after like maybe like really speak to artists or read something about it, or maybe like good text with it, and I think this completely it's all like visual.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting issue because, like, they say that the humans were designed to only have about 150 friends or relations, and now are literally like our social networks are billions of people. I mean, between social media and emails and the news basically being, you know, broadcast around the world from everywhere else around the world. I mean, we're actively involved in, I mean, for goodness sake, you have work in London and Hong Kong, you said, and Sydney. I mean, but like 50 years ago, that would be nearly impossible. so like your market when you were an artist was this basically as far as your car could drive, or as far as you could mail something easily, but like the idea of being in this massive international market that we're now in, I mean, who do you listen to? Like what, there's so many different things going on in so many different parts of the world. Like, how do you find the market for your work?
No, I think this is we come to the same point. Like you could have it 50 years back too. There was like, but you had to work through. There was maybe some ceramic association or something, and they get you to the places through the maybe even through the government. And it was like literally, you need to be in this kind of like maybe group or something. And now you can do it yourself.
But that's the thing. Now we have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, and you had to do. But before, okay, but before exactly what we say, you need to be friendly with these people. You need to be involved, but it was maybe more personal, and plus they was somebody write statement and put together work. Now it's everything kind of like, it's almost sometimes you are lucky, or somebody's very active on I can see it can do a lot, like it's you very active on like social media.
Indeed.
To get you to the places you pushing it.
But
it's
my
all
thing about
it's don't
does
have
it does social media actually get you to the places you want to be? I don't hear about a huge amount of like literal direct, like they people did social media, or they first they had to make quality work, then they put that quality work on social media. That quality work on social media led them to X curator, X gallery, X exhibition, X amount of sales. Like you don't hear about those straight lines.
No. I don't know. I don't believe it's like if you do just social media, they will solve your problem and get you good contact. But people accept once you need to build it anyway, and once you have it, but people actually really expect you to have something. Like I didn't have a year ago, I didn't have Instagram, and everybody was saying you really had to.
Oh yeah, you should have Instagram.
You have to have it. Nobody now looking on a Facebook, and you really push to do it because they want to see the stuff, they want to get update, and for them it's like easier. They get your update like this, and I'm saying, I see this you have these new things, and it's work this way, but it's not will work because there's tons of stuff, and if you're just hoping you putting the even like some, like I don't know, something amazing on, nobody will notice if they don't know you.
There's a question, like with the sheer volume of stuff that's on social media, does yours sort of race to the top? Is yours the cream of the crop? And how do you do that? I mean, it's an algorithms these.
No, I don't actually believe in this. Like you're just doing through the social.
So in your mind, within the knowledge of social media, your gallery spaces that exhibit, or design spaces that exhibit your works, what's the way to success in the 21st century? Like how, what's a path? A path, maybe not the path, but like a path. What is it you think is the
I really think I'm not the best person to give anybody.
No, you're the perfect person to do it.
No. I'm not this known, and it's not even that I like making tons of money with my work. And I know everybody. I had like advice from some friend. She's like teaching the PR, and she said I do really badly. She even gave me some student to help me, like to kind of teach to try on me how to improve it.
Yeah.
And they give me basically homework, what everything I shall do to actually improve this, and I totally fail. I have no time to do this. And
is it that you had no time, or you had no desire?
This is no. Actually, I will. This is exactly like I will have to take this time from my time from my workshop or teaching and put it into this. And I actually really do social media to like. It's my last things, This is the.
But to me, that's
after washing the dishes.
Well, that's an issue that like I don't think that like a lot of people that are outside the arts world really understand. Is like, in order to fit in social media, which is more or less, we'll call it new, like artists, we have our jobs, whatever we have to do to make money, whether it's our art or something else, and then we have some free time to do our own personal creative works, and then now on top of that we have to add in being our own public relations people. Like, so literally it's another part-time job that the people in the arts industry have to add on to their list of things that they need to get done. So not only do they have to make beautiful works and interesting creative stuff, but they also still have to do other testings and trials and failures and things that don't work. But now we also have to be our own PR people by like working in social media, and it's a whole different way of thinking. I mean, it's pure business model. It's pure public relations. It's pure cult of personality. It's like all these things that most people that get into the arts don't want to do, and that's why we chose to get into the arts, because we don't want to do these things. But now we're forced to do them.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, with the maybe this other generation, we really feel like, okay, I'm doing it, I have to do it, I know it's work, kind of. But maybe with the young generation, I feel they grow in it, they just do it naturally, more like...
I know, but it doesn't help you and me.
No, but maybe it's like, maybe like, maybe I'm a dinosaur in this, and it just work, like, this is, I say, maybe I'm not really the right person to give this advice, because I'm just really doing it. It's pain. I don't doing well. I even get professional advice on it that I'm not doing it well.
So do I. It's fine. No, I mean, no. Everybody has something. There have been some great things that you have said. I mean, that I will remember after this is done. So don't think like you don't have good advice. You have good advice, and you have good insights and ideas about things. It's just, I mean, the problem is like us as creative people, like we spend so much time trying to be creative and trying to do our thing that oftentimes we don't really even take a step back and realize, wait a minute, I make beautiful things and people love them, people buy them. Like you make these pieces and you put them out in design shops and people love them and they buy them and they collect them, but you don't have time to sit back and think about that because you're more involved with trying to put out more social media, trying to produce the next thing that you have to produce, because you can't just sit on the last thing you made. Your best thing has to be the next thing you're about to make, not the thing that you just made, or else you're sort of not continuing to make work. So it's tough. Like it's an ever evolving career. Like a lot of careers, like you can just do something and you do it really well and you can sort of just sit there and just do it really well. But we have to continually evolve. We have to continually learn new skills, learn new techniques, learn new, social media is a new thing that we have to learn. You have to continually learn new glazes and new, techniques, and maybe, kilns are now electric, but they probably weren't electric when you started. But yeah, I don't know how long you've been doing it.
Old.
Like, I remember gas kilns. I remember charcoal kilns, for that matter. But things change, and we're always having to. I mean, God, I'm starting a podcast. I have to learn how to do all the audio recording stuff. I mean, I did video before, but I never really honed in on the mastery of these techniques, and we have to continually redefine ourselves every couple years, it seems like.
Yeah, but it's not like I don't want to look like complaining artist, because I think if you will open any shop, I don't know, if you will open paper shop, you find things changing and you need to maybe even like small shops, or if you open bakery, you find you will have to be social media to get involved community to like you. And I think it's every like only okay if you get employed 10 to 6 business, you save, maybe not even, because if you will be some high-end manager, you will have a lot of your worry too and overwork and everything. But I think it's with if you want to do any job good, and mostly if you like running I don't think there's a big difference running your business, like if you're artist, or if you're running clothes shop or something, or some fashion shop, you will probably running into similar it's basically you are only one responsible, and you need to make it well, and things changing very often. This is exactly what you like. Maybe like 50 years back, you can have the shop and the stuff was same in, people behave same for whole your life, and now is everything changing. I can even see like even small ice cream shop have to run the social media to doing it well, to get involved, get involved community, and people like write a review, and you have few bad review or you are gone. I was speaking in I was in Korea, and this like restaurant are super polite, and they say because this like 2 bad review and you can close, because everybody look at the people very demanding. And this
interesting.
I think this is not only like, it tends to sometimes think art is like really hard and everything, but it's I will say this run through for.
So it's just business is hard.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the business is, whether it's a creative business or a retail business or a service business.
I think it will but this is same too. When you have even retail business, you need to. I think you need to like it too. What you're doing, but I don't know. I just don't like to. I just sometimes don't like the people like artists thinking, oh, I'm something like better, and my job is so hard, and I'm so special. I don't see. I think everybody running to similar difficulties, and mostly if you're running if you basically self-employed, it's hard, and you don't even want to speak like all the paperwork with it. If you're selling something to abroad, and the check can be super difficult to make your like tons of paperwork every month, and this is actually some things we didn't touch, and this is what I see students after school, they are really surprised to get like sell your stuff out of European Union or something. I sell like few vases and I have same paperwork like if somebody's shipping 10 container. It's same for me. Sure. With the taxes and everything, and to prove it gets out of European Union, to receive that it was received somewhere in like Australia, and you're doing it for little money because you're selling like few pieces. This is another this is completely different.
Oh yeah, the amount of
this is person I employ. I have I'm accountant, because this was like when I get to this, I was like, she even had to look. She said, okay, I will sit and I need to study law. Like,
yeah, my wife is an accountant, so I'm hoping that she'll be able to help me with that. Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, the amount of that. Well, it's funny. Like, I was going to ask you about that. The amount of arts education that generally artists get when they go to a school is great, and we all walk out with techniques and concepts and theories and all this, but walking out with business sense, like the fact of like insurance, legal paperwork, model releases if they use figures or whatever, consignment agreements. Like, do you all teach that here at Umprum?
Yeah, there's a few years back they started.
Yeah.
I don't know because I didn't when I was studying.
You should go sit in on it. I'll go sit in on it.
Yeah, they have it now. I don't know how good this is because these things are really hard to teach.
Yeah.
Because you need to come into it, and I can see you can get to situation. Even I have good it's a content company. They're good too, and they're running now. I basically had a problem somebody pay me from Australia, but he want to ship it to America, and we get to the problem nobody know how to make this properly.
Yeah, which taxes do you pay then?
Yeah, exactly, and it's for two small vases. And this is, I think you can't. It's good to they teaching here more. They teaching here, which is good. We didn't have any of this actually 15 years back.
Yeah, and I didn't get taught any of it.
They're teaching how to make at least a simple contract and how to do your taxes. I can see even I never been I'm quite practical minded. I never been this naive, but I know some of my friends which finished with me or similar. They were thinking artists don't need to pay taxes and things like that. It was really, and they wasn't stupid, but they just have this silly notion why I had to pay taxes. I'm making the art, but it wasn't it was just because nobody even tell us anything. I remember. Because I was already working after during the university, I was working some restoration work and things like this, which mean I had some experience with how to build and how to make a taxes. But some people just come out of I remember I had really funny conversation with a few of my friends. It was they come they come better prepared now, but I think still it's really. It's hard to fit everything to they already have a lot of curriculum.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, it's also hard because in an art school this, you're trying to cover all bases. So here's all the legal things for photographers versus a sculptor versus a stonemason. I mean, they have totally different legal issues, in and of themselves.
In a way, it's similar.
Some of it's similar. I mean, taxes and things like that. But I mean, when you get into your issue of shipping internationally and then international sales taxes.
I come to this for first time into this. I start even now know at least I spot this will be problem before I just make it and was all ship it everything and didn't have a paperwork and.
Oh, I'm for
sometimes even you call finance department, they don't know.
Oh, years ago I had an exhibition, some works in Cuba, and I was an American. and my one exhibition was in Cuba, and the State Department in the United States sent me this like 30-page document that I had to fill out explaining my trip to Cuba. And I had to explain to them over the course of 30 pages that I never went to Cuba. My artwork went to Cuba, and they didn't get it. Like, they made me keep filling this out, and it's like they were trying to trick me into like getting me like, oh, we know you were in Cuba. I was never in Cuba. My artwork went to Cuba. But like, boy, the government just loves questioning and trying to get everything they can out of us. So yeah, I mean, having good knowledge of it, like, I've fallen into the dumb luck of here in the Czech Republic. My wife is an accountant, and one of my best friends is actually an attorney who is very supportive of the arts as well. So like, you know, finding these kinds of legal people has been pretty easy for me here, because I have no idea. Because like, I would write a contract in English, which is not legally binding here. Mm-hmm. So like, even just these kinds of language barriers in different countries could be issues as well.
And you really need to and a lawyer. You need somebody to, because you run into some issue, somebody don't pay or something. You definitely running into it. There's no, and I know sometime I had like friend too. They like gallery didn't pay, and they didn't think it's waste of money to pay lawyer something, never get pay, and this is another which is big issue to. The gallery don't pay, but it's for different. I think this can be whole.
Is that common?
Yeah, it's a common.
Well, that's unfortunate. So some gallery has taken advantage of you, basically taking your product from you. Yeah, they've sold
they don't
it.
Have it, or they run out of the money, or
they can't run out of money if the money is based off of buying things
from
you.
But they spend them on stuff or something. You know, they don't sell. And I had the issue, and I know why some of my friends have issue now too. And it's not. It's actually it's more common than should be. I think everybody ran into this.
I'm aware of it. I just still think you just set the money aside. When you make a sale, you set the money aside. You don't spend it on something else.
Yeah, like ideally,
it's money you owe to the creator.
Yes. But it's.
We can come back and revisit this sometime.
I think there's nothing much to. I had to be careful, but it still can happen. You never know. Even nice galleries, they can run out of the money, and it's not. But I think if you do it, you will run to definitely in Czech. But I can imagine this can happen abroad too.
It does happen. No, I've known it in other countries.
Even I had a gallery, I always need to push them to, okay, can you just say, let's go for half a year, write every month. We don't have a time to. And
yeah, that's an interesting question. How often do galleries send you payments?
I'd say it depends. Sometimes it's funny too that. You write them, or do you still say, "Oh, we suddenly read it"?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Like that, you actually when you ask, they say, "Oh, yeah, we just said it last week," or it's not.
Yeah, which they didn't send you last week.
But they shouldn't know most. I must say, abroad it was.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
Quite okay now still.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. This has been a lot of fun. Very educational. I enjoyed it. Hopefully, we'll have you back again some other time.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. Good time. Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you have any questions for me, or any questions or comments that you want me to discuss with future guests, please send me an email at matt@wisefoolpod.com, WISEFOOLPOD.com. Ask them on our website, wisefoolpod.com, or any of our social media profiles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at wisefoolpod. I look forward to hearing from you in the near future and assisting you in gaining more understanding of the contemporary visual art market.